knows you can't become saint even though you get married? Well, today we travel back in time to the 13th century to bring you the life of a noble woman whose simplicity knew no bounds. I'm talking about Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, also known as Elizabeth of Thuringia. Born in 1207 in Pressburg, now Bratislava, Slovakia, Elizabeth of Hungary was a princess, the daughter of King Andrew II of Hungary and Gertrude of Merania. She belongs to the royal house of Apard, which gave her a life of privilege and wealth. Despite her royal heritage, Elizabeth's story is one of personal humility and a deep Christian faith that led her to dedicate her life to charity and service. At the age of 4, she was betrothed to Louis IV of Thuringia, who was a prince in what is now Germany. God, where no. At this young age, she was sent to Kassel, where she was raised in Louis's household to prepare her for her future role as his wife. She was deeply influenced by the Christian teachings and examples of the nuns and religious women who cared for her during these formative years. Elizabeth married Louis IV in 1221 when she was about 14 years old. Now so, love a girl. The marriage was harmonious and loving, and she had 3 children with him, Hermann, Sophia, and Gertrude. Louis was also a devout Christian, and their home was a place where faith and charity flourished. Elizabeth, despite her noble position, lived a life marked by simplicity and generosity. She frequently gave away much of her personal wealth, spending her time helping the poor, caring for the sick, and supporting the needy in the region. Abi now, givers never lack. In 1227, while Elizabeth was just 20 years old, her beloved husband Louis died suddenly while returning from a crusade. Bless his soul. Devastated by his death, Elizabeth was left with the responsibility of raising her children and managing the estates. However, her position became more difficult when her brother-in-law, Henry Raps, took control of the family's land, seeking to reduce Elizabeth's power and status. But guess what? Despite these challenges, Elizabeth remained steadfast in her faith and charity. Talk about dedication. In the wake of her husband's death, Elizabeth chose to live a life of greater poverty and devotion. She joined the Third Order of St. Francis, a lay branch of the Franciscans, dedicating herself more fully to serving the poor. She lived in a poor house that she had established in Kassel, where she cared for the sick, the elderly, and the impoverished. Her daily routine included prayer, manual labor, and works of charity, and she lived a life of extraordinary austerity. Saint Elizabeth's deep faith and charitable works led to many miracles attributed to her, both during her life and after her death. She died in 1231 at the age of 24, likely due to the physical strain of her rigorous life. She was buried in Marburg, where a shrine was built in her honor. Elizabeth was canonized by Pope Gregory IX in 1235, just 4 years after her death, due to the extraordinary nature of her life and the numerous miracles attributed to her. She is one of the most beloved saints in the Catholic Church, particularly in Germany and Hungary. She is the patron saint of hospitals, nursing, widows, and poor people, reflecting her deep commitment to serving those in need. Her feast day is celebrated on November 17th. Her life stands as a powerful example of selflessness, charity, and devotion to Christ. Saint Elizabeth's ability to balance her royal duties with her profound spiritual life and care for the less fortunate makes her one of the most beloved saints inspiring countless Christians to live boldly. Be a Saint Elizabeth in the life of your brethren. On this note, we say, Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, pray for us.